Your heart is racing. Your mind is spiraling with worst case scenarios. You just checked your account balance and it's lower than what you expected. Or maybe a surprise bill arrived. Or perhaps you're lying awake at 2 a.m. with money panic flooding your system. Now, in this moment, you physically cannot think clearly about money. Your brain's survival mechanisms have hijacked your rational thinking. But what if you had a simple five-finger technique that could snap you out of financial panic and back into clear thinking in just under 3 minutes? That's exactly what I'm sharing today. Hey everyone, I'm Claire Wasserman, founder and author of Ladies Get Paid. And today I'm sharing my go-to tool for those moments when financial anxiety hits hard. And it's what I call the five-finger framework, or BAFAH. We all have those moments, right? Maybe you just checked your bank account and there's less than what you expected. Maybe a big bill arrived that you weren't prepared for. Or maybe, like me, you tend to wake up at 2 in the morning with your heart racing, worried that you're just not providing enough for your family. Whatever triggers your financial anxiety, the BAFAH framework gives you a practical, in the moment strategy to calm your nervous system and move from panic to possibility. I've used this technique countless times and it has transformed how I handle financial stress. And today I'll walk you through exactly how to use it yourself. So before I break down the BAFAH framework, let's understand what's actually happening in your body during a money freakout. So when an anxious thought about money flares up, your body goes into fight or flight mode, which is a state of contraction. Your prefrontal cortex, so the rational part of your brain, it goes offline. That's why you can't think clearly or see alternative solutions when you're in the grip of financial anxiety. The BAFA framework is designed to interrupt this physiological response and bring you back to a state where you can actually think clearly about your situation. Let's break it down letter by letter. B stands for body. So the first step is to get out of your head and into your body. So wiggle your fingers and toes. Take a deep breath. This might sound too simple to be effective, but I promise you, those physical actions send signals to your brain that you are safe, helping to deactivate the fight or flight response. So when I'm spiraling about money at 2 a.m., the first thing I do is wiggle my toes and take 3 deep breaths. Now, this alone can create enough space to move into the next step, which is acknowledge. So the second step is to acknowledge what you're really afraid of. So what do you think is the core fear behind your financial anxiety? Now, instead of letting the fear hide in your subconscious where it drains your energy, I want you to look it directly in the eye and name it. Name it specifically. Okay, so for me, when I'm anxious about not making enough money, the core fear isn't actually about the numbers. It's about feeling like I'm letting my family down, like I am not good enough as a provider. So just naming this fear creates a bit of distance from it because I am not my fear. I am the person observing it. The third step is F, feel. So this is when we locate in your body, where are you storing this fear? So close your eyes if you can and just scan your body. Is there tightness in your throat, a knot in your stomach, tension in your shoulders, right? Okay, so once you locate it, I want you to breathe into that area. Imagine giving it more space, almost as if you're breathing around the fear, okay? This isn't gonna make the fear just poof, disappear, but it will make it more manageable. And so for me, financial anxiety often manifests as a tightness in my chest. When I breathe into that tightness specifically, acknowledging it without judgment, it typically begins to loosen. The fourth step here is to take one small action that addresses your fear behind the money. Now, this has to be something that you can do right now in this moment. It should be realistic, reasonable, and if it can, quick. So 5 to 10 minutes maximum. The goal is to shift from thought and feeling into movement and momentum. Even a tiny action creates a sense that you're addressing the situation rather than just being victimized by it. So, for example, if I'm anxious about my business revenue, a small action might be sending one follow-up email to a potential client or reviewing my calendar to identify open slots for sales calls. Now, it's not going to solve the entire problem, obviously, but it will create forward momentum. H is for hum. So the final step here, okay, in the BAFA framework, the five-finger framework, BAFAH, we're on H now. This might sound a little strange, guys, but it is incredibly effective. Simply hum. Okay, so why do we do this? Humming stimulates what's called the vagus nerve, which helps move from a fight or flight state into relaxation. I want you to try it right now. Even if you're in public, you're going to do it. Just a simple for a few seconds. I want you to notice how it creates just a subtle vibration in your chest and throat. This vibration physically interrupts the stress response. Now, if you want to take it to the next level, go ahead and Google the emotions wheel, or sometimes it's called the feelings wheel. Because sometimes when you try to identify what you're feeling in the acknowledge step of the BAFAH framework, so that's the second step, you might find yourself drawing a blank. This is when you're asking yourself, well, what is my core fear here? And it might really just keep coming back as, I can't afford my rent. I can't afford my rent. And I want you to dig deeper than that. So when you look up the feelings wheel or the emotions wheel, what you're going to find here are all these different kinds of emotions presented to you, and nuanced emotions too. And the reason that you may find this helpful is that many of us are simply disconnected from our emotions, especially around money. And so when you look up that emotions wheel, it will help you pinpoint those specific emotions, first starting with broad categories and then getting more specific. So for example, if you know that you feel bad about money, the wheel is going to help you identify whether you feel more specifically anxious, overwhelmed, ashamed, or something else entirely. I find being precise about our emotions will help you take even more targeted action. So let me walk you through how I've recently used this framework myself. Last month, I sent out an email campaign for a new course and the sales were lower than I expected. So as soon as I saw those numbers, of course, I felt that familiar wave of panic rising. The framework to the rescue. Body, I immediately took 3 deep breaths and wiggled my fingers and toes, getting back into my body. Acknowledge. I asked myself, Claire, what are you really afraid of? Beyond the immediate disappointment, I realized that I was afraid that this meant I was a bad business owner, that I was a disappointment to my family. I scanned my body and located where was I holding this tension specifically. It was a heavy feeling in my stomach. So I breathed into that area, giving it more space without trying to make it go away. And then action, I decided to reach out to all the people who clicked on the link but didn't purchase. And it wasn't a hard sell. I just was simply asking them a genuine question, what was holding them back? And this took me 10 minutes, okay, but it did give me valuable information. And it also, most importantly, made me feel like I was taking productive action. And then just to close up the practice, I hummed for about 30 seconds, and just felt the tension in my body start to release. Now, after going through this process, of course, I was still disappointed about the sales numbers, but I wasn't panicking. And that's the most important part, right? I could think clearly about next steps and what I might adjust for future launches. The situation hadn't changed, but my relationship to it had. So this week, challenge you to try the BAFAH framework the next time you feel financial anxiety rising. So write down those letters, BAFAH, on a note card or save them as a note in your phone so you have them handy when you need them. After you've tried it, go ahead, share in the comments which step of the framework was most helpful for you and where in your body do you tend to feel the most anxiety. And remember, the goal here isn't to never feel financial anxiety again. That's just not realistic. It is to have the tools to help you and to move through things more effectively so that when you are feeling stressed, it doesn't derail your day or your decisions. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and ring that bell, ding, 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 because next time we are going to explore how to identify and address the core fears beneath your financial anxiety with specific prompts for each fear type. See you next time.